What is up? I'm Jared Welch. Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, September 15th, and this is Bleaker's Off. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man? Yeah, it was kind of a relaxed weekend with Del Mar last week ending, and now, man, it seems like we've got 6 races everywhere coming at us this week.
Dude, when I was coming up with the kind of the format and the flow of the show last night, it was like, all right, so this one, okay, no, this one, okay, how should we do this? This is, we have a Breeders' Cup, we have Breeders' Cup Challenge races, we have Kentucky Derby, that's right, Kentucky Derby prep race, the Iroquois kicks off, you have Oaks prep race, and maybe the biggest of them all, Belmont at the Big A, baby. It's all we're talking. That's all we're talking about. No, but really, the Belmont of the Big A. That's really what it's called. We'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, it's a huge weekend.
When you hear the phrase "the Big A," what do you think of?
You know what I think of.
I was just wondering.
You know what I think of.
Okay.
It's the dumbest name of all time. And I was talking to Magic about this last night. It's like, we're not stupid. We all know it's Aqueduct. Okay, 1. 2, whenever it literally shows up on all the feeds, on your betting platforms, everything you're using, it's going to show up as Belmont of the Big A. So just so you know. And it took me a second even. I was like, what the hell is BAQ? I was like, what is that? Oh, no, that's Belmont at Aqueduct. That's what it is. Like, I saw this. I was like, what is that? They literally just think we're gonna put lipstick all over this, and no one's gonna know it's Belmont or it's not Belmont.
Well, I tell you why they did it. Back when Calder was purchased by Gulfstream Park, they kept calling it Calder for the first year, and then they called it Gulfstream Park West, and everybody bet a ton more money into it because it had the Gulfstream Park name. Honestly, I think that's why they did it. I think they felt like we're going to call it Aqueduct. Shit, we're not playing Aqueduct, just what people would think. So yeah. I think that's why they did it.
Yeah, no one wants to do that shit if it's Aqueduct. But if it's Belmont, I mean, they even have the logos green. It looks, if you look at it, it looks like Belmont. Belmont's big. There's no Aqueduct in it, right? Nope. It's just Big A. So they made sure to leave the Aqueduct part out. It's just Belmont at the Big A. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Like, at least it's not Aqueduct in January, because that's the worst. But this really won't be that bad, I don't think.
Aqueduct gets such a negative thought, but the thing about it is, when it's not the middle of the winter, it's actually a fine track. They've got a turf course. It's a nice course, and they're running turf races. They'll run turf races all the way until December, basically. So it's a very nice track, and it's fun this time of year for sure. And like I said, we're getting hit a little bit early. Usually we're at Belmont right now, but it's not that bad. Yeah, there, Charles. It's really not.
Especially now, when it's early in the meet, or it's like, so they're not, the turf course is perfect.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks fantastic. So I think everything will be just fine. I think everybody's really going to enjoy this meet, honestly. So yeah, I think the jump racing, both the big favorites lost to start off the jump races today, and now we get into the flat races. We're 6 minutes away as we sit here and talk. So 8 regular races on tap today, and I think everybody will have fun. I'm having fun watching it so far. So it is what it is.
There's no Rodney. There's not, the field's not set. Well, that's next weekend, so we don't know. And really, it doesn't seem like it's totally up. That race is totally up in the air still, with so many contenders. Well, only really the ones we know: Taba, Simplification. Best actor. Those are the probables. Taba for sure is like the only horse we've known for quite some time that's going to point to the Pennsylvania Derby. Past that, the list is, there's a ton of, horses that, Rich Strike, I don't think he's going to, but, Zandon and Cyberknife and Creative Minister has been talked about. I've seen that talk about him. Tawny Port I've seen possible for that race. So it's really all over the place on possibles. But yeah, the Taba only seems like, and I think you and I can both agree, whether you like him or not, he'll be a very short price in that race, considering that fact.
He's got to be. Yeah, depends on who enters, but yeah, he's going to be less than even money for sure in that spot. And even if you think, Cyberknife was a little better than him. Well, Cyberknife did go back to run second in the Travers, which kind of holds up that table for him. So yeah, that race, that seems like he's got him over a barrel in that one for sure. Doesn't seem like the big time players are going to be pointing for that one, and can't really blame them. It's kind of Breeders' Cup time now. Everybody's kind of gearing up towards that. It'll be interesting to see if we get any also rans out of the Travers. Anybody really. We know the winner's not going, but will some of those other ones decide, yeah, we'll show up there. It is $1 million race. So it's going to be fun. It's always a pretty fun weekend up at Parks, and they have a great card. The Cotillions on the card. They've got other nice stakes races as well. So it'll be a good card.
Let's see. Dudes, would you be shocked if the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is stacked this year just because the simple fact they don't want to run against Flightline? No, I think it's likely that that's what it is. I think you're going to have several options in that Dirt Mile that are going to be like, you know what, we're going to, especially I think from the 3-year-old department, some good 3-year-olds that might just bypass that classic and say, you know what, let's go to this race first, and then let's try, Life is Good obviously probably will be. But if any of these horses that are contenders for the classic, quote unquote contenders, were to go to the Dirt Mile, they would be, 1 to 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, a horse like Cyberknife, let's just throw him out there because we mentioned him a little bit earlier. He's likely for the Dirt Mile now, right? Like if it was a little bit of softer spot, maybe he would try the classic, but he can kind of back up. He can run a mile. It's a 2-turn mile. And I think that is also an important factor for horses like Cyberknife, to kind of take a shot in there. The problem with that is that race could be kind of stacked too. Cody's Wish could go there and he's awfully good. If Life is Good was to say, yeah, I'll just try that route, I don't think he will, but it's not impossible. And then all of a sudden that race is going to be stacked too. And then Rodney's favorite horse, Jack Christopher, we're not sure if he'll go there or if he will go to the Sprint. So if Jack Christopher's in the mile, all of a sudden that becomes tough as well. So there's a lot of different things that can happen. But yeah, those minor, quote unquote, minor races are probably going to be a little more stacked if Flightline is indeed in the classic.
Jack Christopher in that race is, that to me seems like a very tough ask to have any horse beat him if they decide to go the mile route. We'll see what they do there. And, I don't know. The thing is, I think it's confusing. Michael says about bad, not running the turf. He was never running the turf. So I never understood that rumor of why he thought he was coming to the Breeders' Cup. That was never the plan. So you lost an easy single. Well, what about the race after?
Yeah. I think you'll be able to go all in the turf if Flightline's there, and it'd be okay.
I kind of like the single in the last race personally, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Any final comment? We got a big show, so we'll do a couple more questions here on the entry. Not a lot to talk about as far as last weekend. I think we all just were ready for Kentucky Downs to be done, and just get the Breeders' Cup Challenge races out of the way. We got Red Knight home. That was nice. Of course, we couldn't string together the pick 4, but at least we had that race. But no, you're really just trying to survive that weekend in Kentucky Downs, move past Kentucky Downs as far as the Breeders' Cup and what those implications mean. Anything you saw from that meet? And I know the answer, but I'll give it out there so people can hear you say it. Anything you saw from that meet that you're taking any note of moving forward?
No.
Okay.
No.
Campanelli's pretty good.
Yeah, the horses, remember them for the next time they run a Kentucky Downs. If they got to win over that surface, and that's great, and you could maybe use them and be a little more confident in them next year. But yeah, overall, even if a horse freaks, wins by 20, whatever, it's but it's Kentucky Downs, and it's not a slide on the track. It's just it's so different than everywhere else. So.
Yeah. Hey, truth exposed. You can't. The baseline of that was okay. You can't pick Gaffoe, so who am I picking now? That was kind of, And he ran like you would have thought Gafo did. He ran okay. He ran well, but he just not good. He should have won that race, right? He should have won that race. But Red Knight was really gutty there at the end of that race and just held on. But yeah, if you had Gafo, that was a bad beat.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, if you had Gafo, you kind of were prepared for a bad beat, right?
You're glutton for punishment a little bit. Yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes. So, that's it. Was Gafo, I gotta read that. Was Gafo's performance coming off of Kentucky Downs? Is he a serious player in the turf? Will he be your top choice?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I did have a question from an emailer that I thought we could go over in the opening here.
All right.
He was asking how best to use the power play of the day. Because, of course, the power play at times is a very short-priced horse. And I thought that's a good thing to answer on this show because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about how you can create value around short prices. Or actually, if you like a short price and you win, you could make good money in a race if you bet it correctly. So I thought this would be a good thing. So here's the deal. The power play of the day is meant to be the most likely winner anywhere in this country in horse racing. This is the most likely horse to win on that day. So obviously at times, you're not going to get a great price. You may not want to bet a win on this horse, but it's pretty simple. So if you go to the website and it's like, okay, here's the power play of the day. This is who they think's the most likely winner in the country. So you take that race and you go to it and you put that horse on top of either an exacta or a trifecta. And then you just pick your second horse. Or if a trifecta, you pick your third horse. And you play it straight. So let's say you like to play exacta boxes for $5, and it's a $15 wager. You play 3 of them, right? Or it'd be a $30 wager. Well, instead of playing in a box, take that $30 that you would normally play, or whatever the number is, and just play it straight, that horse over the horse you think is going to finish second.
Right. There's a lot of ways to do it. I personally love getting creative. People say, well, it's so hard to find, get the horse, figure out who the horse is that's going to finish second. But I mean, that's part of the challenge. When you have a 1 to 5 or whatever it is.
Let's take example. Let's just take example the Travers. That's a race that's kind of sticks out to me as a horse where we had a short price, right? So you're in the Travers, and let's say Epicenter. I don't was he even money? I think he was even, wasn't he? By the time they went to post. So you look at it and you go, well, I don't bet even money horses. Okay. So you get the second place horse that's Cyberknife, who is a second choice on the board, and say you like Cyberknife. Well, instead of playing Epicenter just to win and you get even money, you could play Epicenter with Cyberknife in second straight, and it paid 9 to 1. Hi. So the second horse, it's the top 2 choices, and it paid 9 to 1. That's what I'm saying. Like the power play yesterday won and paid $3, but the exacta paid $26 because a longer price came in. So you can do it that way too. If you're like, okay, here's a short price. I like a couple of long shots. I'll play the short price over these 2 long shots, and that's how you create value with the favorite.
I mean, I personally like to do that, but also if I, when the race after, I can't remember what Belmont handicap or whatever it was after the Flightline race that night, we had the favorite, but it was like, I like the favorite. I think he's probably going to win, but I don't feel totally confident in it. And so I like this other price too. So I'm going to box them. I said, play these 2, box them up, or play 3 of them, box them up. Because if you think he's a little vulnerable, but you still like him to run well, and the thing paid, I think it was 5, 6, 7 to 1, somewhere in there, you've got it home because he got beat with the horse that I liked, the kind of the bigger priced horse came in, won. And it really was, it's one of those, some of those times you're like, that really wasn't that hard to get to.
Yeah.
And I got 5 to 1 on a race where everyone, or 6 to 1, like where everyone's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. How do I play this horse? I don't know how to make money with this horse because this horse is too low too low of a price. Well, that's how.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because let me bring up Del Mar here and let me get the Flightline race because it's two different things, right? So the 10th race, the Flightline race, everybody's like, I can't. This is a dumb race. I can't play this race. I got a short price here, and I'll just skip it. Well, the Exacta paid 3-1 for Flightline over Country Grammar, right? So it's just creating that value, and you have probables on your betting apps, or if you're at the track, they have it on the video board. They have probables where you know what it's going to pay. Like it'll tell you, right? And so,
right.
If you're getting 3-1 on the two horses that you like the best, and if you're thinking Flightline's a slam dunk, the only one horse that I think is competitive is Country Grammar, and you look up and you say, well, shit, it's paying 3-1. Just play that. Think about, if you have a horse and it's your top choice and the horse is 3-1, you're probably going to bet that horse to win. Well, just create that value with the Exacta. If it's a horse that is just cannot lose like Flightline, that's how you do it. You just put another horse underneath and
it was never in question, that Exacta. That was it. It was easy. Exactly. You had it the whole way around,
And like you said, the next race, the Del Mar handicap, we both liked Masterpiece, but it was not a lock. It was not like, oh, we think it's a lock. Like you said, you liked a couple of prices. So in that case, you can play a box because you have all kinds of prices. I think you had 3 horses in the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have any. You had like a favorite, and then you had like an 8-1 and like a 12-1 or something. Okay, yeah. I mean, you could play it straight if you wanted to, but you could also box that, and you're not worried about what the payout's going to be because you've got it covered because you've got prices involved in it. There it is. And what it paid 16-1.
I was way off. 16-1.
Well, it paid 4 or 5-1 based on the money you risked to on
right.
Yeah,
because I boxed it, but yeah, it was. That's what I think. There was a 2, the 9, and I threw. I don't remember what other horse it was in there, but 9 was the top play, but I was like, Gold Phoenix I think is a horse that I like the price on this horse. I'm going to use this horse in the Exacta, and then there's someone else. So box those 3 horses, and it's. Yeah, I think the 9. I don't remember what the 9's odds were, but he was low. I mean, it was a little bit too short of a price.
Yeah.
Even though I thought he was going to win, a little too short to play him on the win side.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I tried to create the value there.
Correct. And again, we're pointing out spots where it worked out, but Jackie's Warrior, Cody's Wish was one where it didn't work out. But it was also, what was that Exacta paying again? If Jackie was to win that race, like 3-1 or 4-1?
It was like, I think it may have been 5-1. It was very, very good for all things considered.
I think you were right. I think it's 5-1, and it was Jackie's Warrior over Cody's Wish. And so again, straight. You look at that race, and everybody's like, "Well, this is just a stupid race. I don't understand. Like, I hate these races with short prices because I can't do anything with it." And really, it couldn't be further from the truth. Now, again, we're pointing out ways where it worked out. This one, it did not work out, but still, Jackie's Warrior over Cody's Wish. And you're getting 5-1, I'd bet it 100 times. Even if I knew the outcome, I'd bet it.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Because actually, what people don't understand is that's actually fantastic value on a bet. It really is. And so people like to say, oh, you're chalk eaters and stupid and don't play the chalk. It's a ridiculous comment because if you know how to bet it correctly, you can create value with any kind of horse. Now, look, there might be times if it's a 3-horse field, well, you're kind of screwed, right? But in most of the time, you can create value with your wagers by still using a chalky horse.
Yeah, and even with even with that race where you like you said, it was like, even though we were wrong, I mean, we didn't cash the bet. It was like you said, I was like, I loved that bet. That was my favorite bet of the day, even after the outcome of getting it wrong, because I was like. And there was a couple times that day where it was somewhat chalky, but we had payouts of 5-1 if that hit. There was another race I don't remember, or later in that card, even though we were it didn't come home, but we were like with a short price, we were getting like 8-1. If the way we played it. So we were playing the tickets in ways that, with for that race, it was like, I knew that Jockey was a lock to win. Now, obviously he lost, but it's like, okay, so you're telling me I'm getting 5-1 on that exactive, basically saying 5-1 on him to win because I think Cody's Wish is the second best horse. And let me tell you, like if you play this way, it can be unbelievably frustrating. It can be. There's times like that, but with that race, it was like I never would have picked Cody's Wish to win the race. So, and I never would have wasted money to box it because I didn't think there was any chance that he could win. So you're bummed that you didn't hit it. And the same thing goes with, like, say, Flightline, the Breeders' Cup Classic. You'll be able to find value there with him over Happy Saver or him over, name a horse that's, 10-1 plus or something like that. You'll be able to create value. Just like you said, it's so important to go look at those will pays prior. They give you an estimate of, okay, this exact is paying this exact, and it gives you an idea. If all the exactas are paying shit, then it makes no sense to play. But if you're getting 3, 4, 5-1 on Flightline, basically, imagine if you're getting 3-1, 5-1 on Flightline over Country Grammar again.
Well,
that's not bad.
Of course not. And let me jump in. You said, hey, you'll be able to find, value on Flightline in the Breeders' Cup. Well, we can say that with confidence because we've done it twice. We had Flightline over Happy Saver straight on Belmont Day in the Met Mile. And we had Flightline over Country Grammar straight last time out. So you might look at it and say, well, I haven't ever bet this horse because I can't. We look at it and say, well, yeah, you can. You just put him on top. And I think the Happy Saver paid about 5-6-1 with Happy Saver in the Met Mile. And we just said 3-1 for the Country Grammar one at Del Mar. Now, I want to be abundantly clear. I'm not telling you, no matter what race it is, if you see a heavy favorite, play the heavy favorite on top and then play that another horse in second. What I'm telling you is, if you like that heavy favorite, that's how you do it. Instead of just, well, I can't play him, I'll just try to make some shit up and hope to get lucky. There are heavy favorites you want to play against, like a Gaffoe would be a great example, right? Those happen every day. I'm not saying bet the chalk all the time, but if there's ones you like, go ahead and do it. Like the Alabama, another example. Nest won the Alabama, was like 2-5. Okay, can't play to win. You can play a Nest, Secret Oath, Exacta, and it paid 4-1. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. It can be hard sometimes if you don't have a good feel for anyone underneath it.
Yes.
Where you're like, you love Flightline, but you're like, I don't know who can finish second. Everyone can finish second in this race. And so it makes it tricky. But then that's another way where you can look at the payouts and say, well, if this horse gets it, it's 3-1. If this horse is 4-1, and if this horse it's 8-1, you can kind of start to get an idea of, I can play a Flightline over those 3 horses or something. And get an idea of what your payouts would be. Like, okay, if this one hits, I would probably, barely, maybe make a little money. If this one hits, it balloons, whatever. So it is. So, and sometimes it's not a bad idea to be like, okay, I'm going to play Flightline over Epicenter, whatever the horse is, and Taba or something. And so it's like, if the Taba one hits, it's 8-1. But if it, so you have this huge possibility to get a massive amount of value off a Flightline with a horse you like, that's a little bit of a price, but you also have that saver in there, where Epicenter and him might pay 2-1 or something like that. But at least you make something off of that bet. So there's always ways to create value in these races with short prices. You just have to find them, and you have to get create, like you said, like if you're just blindly betting, like, well, they picked the 3, so there's the 3 bet. There's the 2, there's the 2 bet. You know what I mean? Like, you're just betting exactly. Then you're gonna lose money in the long run, because even if those horses win, there's no value there. But that's why you have to look at a race, and instead of being like skipping it, try to find value.
And to be clear, we're saying, hey, it's easy. We're not saying it's easy to hit the bets, right? We're saying it's easy to look at the bets, look at the probables, and make a correct wager based on the payouts. That's all what we're saying. We're not saying, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to hit a straight exacta. No, what we're saying is it's really easy to go, okay, this is paying 4-1. If I bet to win, it's paying 2-5. What should I do?
Right.
The bottom line is, if you make the correct wagers based on the odds, if you're a decent handicapper, in the end, you're going to come out ahead. You may not come ahead that day or that week, but over time, as long as you're making wagers that have the correct odds, the odds that you should be playing and you should be demanding, it's going to be fine. You could have a run where anything you do, it just doesn't work. And that's just the variance of gambling. That's not, but if you are betting 2 to 5s all day to win, well, then you're never going to come out ahead because you're not going to be able to hit enough of them to cover the eventual loss.
Right. And I think if you go back and look at the way we, not to keep harping on this, but if you go back to look at our bankroll articles and all the wagering guides, you can see how we even ourselves have evolved into this. Whereas like we used to be like, well, we're just either you're skipping the race. I don't know. We can't, how do you make value? How do you do that? Or you're playing a horse and $100 to win on a 2 to 5. And you're like, well, shit, that's dumb. You missed one of those bets and your day, you're playing from behind the whole day. And you can see how we've evolved into like lately where a lot of these big days that seem so especially this summer at Saratoga where it's a little chalky and short fields, you look for you create the value there. And, we were able to, I feel like we never skipped a race. We always looked for a way to look for them. And even that day at the Travers, even though we did make money, we had a great day, but it could have been huge with a little bit of luck here and there between Jackie's Warrior or between getting Miramichi home in that double to Epicenter, little things like that. But what I loved about I never felt better about a day because we were like, it's like the day where you're on if you're playing golf or whatever, and you're like you're hitting every shot in the right spot. You're hitting it exactly where you want it. Maybe the putts aren't falling exactly. You're missing a lot of birdie putts, but you just feel like you are just everything you're doing is right. Maybe your score doesn't show it, like you're missing putts or whatever, but you feel like everything you did, you're putting yourself in the best position, and that's how I felt that day.
Well, we made $55 on Travers Day on that bankroll article, but like you said, we put ourselves in position to make $600-700, like not a nose, but a neck for Miramichi, and then if Jackie's Warrior wins, we're making $600-700. So exactly, you put it perfectly, right, Coop?
You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hey, can you tell Halterman what's your favorite? What do they say off of that episode we watch on YouTube? You say it. You know what his favorite episode of The Office is?
No.
Say, parkour.
No.
Parkour. Parkour.
That was just on last night.
Yeah. He'll run around the house and hit the walls with his feet. And he'll go parkour.
So you know what's funny? We do that with my cat because she likes to do the same thing. She'll just run off a wall, bounce off of it, and so we go parkour every time we see her do it.
The cat.
He just dies laughing, and I'm like, I'm so proud of you because you realize your dad loves this show so much.
It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah. Parkour.
I say parkour.
Yeah. Parkour. Can you say it? Say it.
I did.
Say it louder.
Parkour.
There you go.
Very good.
All right, let's get to today's show. We're going to preview and get picks for Saturday's $1 million Woodbine Mile. It's a win you're in for the 2022 Breeders' Cup Mile. Then we're going to get picks for 2 more Challenge Series races, the first Kentucky Derby and first Kentucky Oaks preps, plus Belmont at the Big A's Jockey Club Derby and Oaks. Hey, can you say, let's go?
Here we go.
There you go.
Very good.
Father like son.
Two.
Huh? You have one, dude.
Two.
No, I need one for me.
Daniel makes a good point. And listen, that happens, right? The exacta pools don't seem to have that drastic change like the win odds. That's the good news. Bad news is that happens. And it is what it is. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, if there's certain things you just can't do anything about, makes it tough.
Yep.
What did you just put in my
He
car?
needs
Come on,
his-
Mom, it's just a squirt gun. It's
Davey, his pick of the day would be any Justify horse. He loves Justify. Or any orange or any 7. His orange is his color. He'll Shoddy. He won't be the third host. He'll fill in for me. He'll just be. Right. That's him and Cohen are eventually going to take over. That's the job. We're just we'll pay them in, chicken and, wrestler guys or something. So I got to tell you, Halterman, last night we were playing with the old wrestlers, the ones you got them. And, we were, he did the thing. Like, I guess you did it with him, like where the wrestler like racked himself on the ropes, Yep. And I was doing it. And he's like, yeah, it's more funny when Aaron does it.
Of course.
He's like, he goes, he's funny. Like, yeah, well, Dad's not cool enough, I guess.
No, you're not funny. Never have been. Exactables have big drops. I have not experienced them like I have with the win wagers. I maybe $6 to $5. That's really about the extent that I personally have experienced a big drop in the odds. Wins, different story for sure.
Let's see here. Let's pull this up. Saw a question. Jared, when you were a boy, did you have blonde hair or so I had brown hair. His hair it's getting more brown every day. Well, then get out of here. If I'm being too loud. And his mom had blonde hair when she was a kid, so kind of got a combination there. And then Colin on the other end, he looks exactly like I did when I was that age. So we had our soccer pictures taken the other day. I coached both their teams, and me and Colin were doing our soccer picture together, just him and I. And the photographer was like, "Yeah, you guys aren't related." I mean, it would look exactly the same. So, what do you need? You want it loud? Okay, you can leave it loud, but you got to go in the other room.
He's like, all right.
Yeah. All right, what do you say? Let's do some this Woodbine Mile, guys. This is a great race. So we got the Woodbine Mile. We got 2 more juvenile turf races that we're gonna win in your ends at Woodbine. We've got Churchill Downs, which of course has the Oaks and the Derby preps, and we'll end things with, of course, the Big A, Belmont at the Big A with the Jockey Club Oaks and Jockey Club Derby. So the Nation's Pride versus Classic Causeway, the rubber match. So how about that? It'll be fun to see how that one. I don't know. That one, it's interesting for me. I liked both of those. So
yeah, it's gonna be good.
All right. This is funny. So it's not funny but I'm lucky if I can get Cooper out on the field. This last game, Cooper had his shin guards off before the game started. And so that was entertaining. I basically am coaching 9 strangers' kids that's what I do. Because my son's on the sideline eating popcorn. And Cohen, I mean, he's a stud, so but he doesn't use his head yet. They're too little. So no one kicks the ball high enough for your head to be used. It's all just little little tiny dribbles. So all right. Saturday at Woodbine, we have a mega day of Breeders' Cup Challenge races, and the headline of the day, of course, is race 9, Rico Woodbine Mile Stakes. It's a grade 1 worth $1 million for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf. It is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup FanDuel Mile, and speaking of the Breeders' Cup, this horse might want to come to the Breeders' Cup and get a little revenge. Number 5, Modern Games, makes his return to the United States. Last time we saw him over here, he was winning a race that he didn't win. So he won. Right, yeah, play that back again. He won, and if you go look at the winner of last year, it's Modern Games. But for folks listening, I know Halterman, you didn't cash a bet on him. I know a lot of people didn't cash a bet on him. You couldn't cash a bet on him. So he's back. Modern Games is back in the United States. Obviously, Appleby thinks, and we'll talk about another Appleby here coming up. This is a kind of the step towards the Breeders' Cup to go back to the Breeders' Cup with Modern Games. Halterman, how do you feel? What are the emotions like seeing your boy back over here?
It's funny, we were talking about how odds can drop before the post, and it's like there's all different kind of ways you can like win and still kind of feel like you lost. This was the biggest one. The odds drops in horse racing, this is nothing compared to having every single bet tied to Modern Games at the Breeders' Cup and losing like I did, having a win bet. And, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. It makes me happy to see him, but it also brings up nightmares of that nightmare ending to the Breeders' Cup last year. Listen, this horse is really, really good. That's why did I have everything tied to Modern Games? Because he looked great coming into the race. His trainer, Charlie Appleby, loved him coming into the race, and he dominated it, even though we didn't get paid for it. He came back this year. He won his first race out at Longchamp. Listen, he's taken on some heavy hitters since. Some really tough horses, including Baid, who everybody likes to talk about.
It only got beat. It only was beaten by less than 2 lengths.
Exactly. This horse that, and I'm not arguing, by the way, is a super horse. Modern Games was beaten a length and 3/4. Now he's here at the Woodbine Mile. How am I not going to pick Modern Games? I'm going Modern Games in the spot. I think he's going to be awfully tough.
This was, to me, was a combination of, one, I think he's that good of a horse, and two, it's a deep field, and it's an interesting field, but there's not any horse in here like, there's not another Modern Games type horse. There's not a Chad Brown superstar, that's coming in for this race. It's very, I thought it was very moderate in terms of kind of the talent level. Now there's some depth there for sure. And I think Ivar is a very interesting horse in here. I don't know that he's quite good enough to beat Modern Games, but you just look at so since that day where he won but didn't win, he wins the next time out of Group 1 at Longchamp, finishes 3rd in a Group 1, then runs 5th in a Group 1. All of these races, still very close races. And then, of course, finished 2nd that day in that Group 1 to Bayad. He's done nothing but just run well since we last saw him at the Breeders' Cup. And we know that he can run over here because he did it. And the fact that Appleby's sending him over here for this, he wants to prep before the Derby, right? Or before the Breeders' Cup, tells you what their plans are. Their plans are to get this horse in the Breeders' Cup and run there. So, I think he's awful tough to beat here.
This is a tip for the Breeders' Cup coming up as well. Listen to all the Charlie Appleby interviews that you can. He's very honest about his horses and who he likes and his chances. And he just gushed over this horse last year. And to have this horse back here, and you said it, they're going for the Breeders' Cup. There's no doubt about it. That's why we're entered here. The other thing is, Woodbine, it's a quirky place. It's a normal turf surface, but there are some differences compared to other tracks. But Modern Games has kind of run well everywhere, and so that really makes you confident that he's going to handle Woodbine just fine. I'm with you. It's the field's got depth. I think you said it well, but it doesn't really have a superstar in it. Ivar is that horse. Got 3rd last year at the Breeders' Cup Mile, but he hasn't really ever been able to win a race of this caliber since that first time he did here in the United States in the Shadwell. Since then, he's like the type. It's it runs really well. Yeah, you exit the race. You're like, yeah, he's good. He's a good horse, but he hadn't been able to really win. He did win last time out at Indiana Grand at $100,000 stakes. I don't know what that means for this race today, though.
A horse that I really liked, and I think it's very interesting in here that I might use underneath, maybe playing it, talked about how you make money. I mean, I think you can play, if you get 7-5 on Modern Games, I don't necessarily hate playing him at 7-5, but if you wanted to create value, how about him over the 3, Wakanaka? I think it's interesting that Mott decided to run her in this race. Of course, yes, a filly. facing the boys here. And, she's kind of ran in all the big races really this year in terms of for the fillies. She finished sixth in the Pegasus, got second to In Italian in the Honey Fox, third to Speak of the Devil in Italian at Churchill, second to Regal Glory, and then came here, Dan Smartly, and won at Woodbine. And so obviously that gave Mott the confidence to say, you know what, let's run her back in this race here. That was a nice race. I don't know that she's good enough, but she does show up every time, which makes me want to use her underneath.
Well, let's look who she's gotten beat to, and you tell me if you think she's good. Not used, but people in the chat, baby. I know you know the answer. Regal Glory in Italian. Speak of the Devil when she absolutely freaked. Regal Glory again. I think she's got a shot against this group. And you said it, got the big win over at Woodbine last time out, going to mile 16th. Shortened up to a mile, but that's where they had been running this horse and where she was running really well against good competition. Yeah, I think she's got a great shot in this one.
Yeah, I think maybe like her or play Modern Games over the 2-3 or something like that. I have to see what the will pays are. The 2's a horse, Ivar. He's a horse that he's a frustrating horse. Ran the Breeders' Cup Mile last year and finished third to Space Blues, Smooth Like Straight. I mean, he ran a good race and, is a horse that has won grade ones, won the Shadwell Turf. But he has trouble kind of breaking through and being like a consistent top horse. Now, to be fair, he runs in all the big races and he runs well and runs triple-digit buyers most every time and just isn't quite good enough to win. So, you could argue if for whatever reason Modern Games doesn't show up, doesn't run his race or something, Ivar, similar to Wakanaka, is a horse that he kind of does show up every time.
Mm-hmm. He does. And he is a nice underneath horse. I don't know. Let's say Modern Games doesn't run very well. Does that mean Ivar is automatically going to win? No, I don't think so. I think he'll be around, but that's about as far as I could get with him.
What about, okay, so we'll do this for all, well, we'll do it for at least this one. The juvenile ones are tough, but in terms of, this is your horse. This is your horse last year. What about if he wins here, Modern Games, which we both are sitting here thinking that he will or should. What do you think of his chances at the Breeders' Cup? To kind of quote unquote repeat.
Big shot, really big shot. The Breeders' Cup Turf Mile right now is completely wide open, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at who's Casa Creed.
Yeah, so it's not, and there's nobody that you're scared of. So if Modern Games comes over here and looks great, he's got a big shot in the Breeders' Cup. Also, though, any turf race we talk about right now, you hit the pause button and say, look, the Euros, we have no idea who's coming over. Modern Games is a Euro, so he does count as one, but there might be other. What a Space Blues, a type like Space Blues comes back.
Pearls Galore is a horse that won that challenge race. That's pretty good.
Right. So you don't know until you know who's coming over from there. But yes, Modern Games is going to be in the mix in a major way if he gets this done today or Saturday, I should say. I keep saying today.
What about is Chad going to run Regal Glory in this race, you think?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's a horse that loves going a mile, and I think that's probably where she probably fits best. So I would think so. Yeah.
All right. This is a race. Obviously, I think we've established that there is a way to make money in this race. But then even past that, it is a Breeders' Cup win you're in for a big race at the Breeders' Cup with Modern Games. Looking like a serious player. In that race as well. So look for him to win here. Halterman and I both are on number 5. Halterman wants to actually cash a ticket on this horse, Modern Games. I've never, to this day, we've been to 1,000 races and amazing, we've seen 2 Triple Crowns and we've seen some epic performances. We've seen all these really good performances. And it was, that was just a surreal 10 minutes that day at the Breeders' Cup when they DQ, or they didn't DQ, they scratched the horse accidentally. And then you say, well, he's going to run, but now it's for purse money only, and you're sitting there thinking, well, he better not freaking win. I'll be so pissed. And then he wins easily. And that whole place was booing. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was the last race of the day on Friday, and it really gave people a bad taste of the mouth heading into Saturday for sure.
It was bad. It was bad. I remember going back to the hotel and getting on a live stream, and people were tweeting us, so you got to get live. And my God, we had like 400 or 500 people waiting. Everybody was mad. A lot of people, I'm never playing again. And I just told them that night, I don't blame you for saying that. You'll be back, but I don't blame you right now if you're saying that. I felt that way too. And you also got to understand where we were sitting was right when the horse made the move. Like, we weren't on the finish line. We were up a little ways. And right when he made that move, I looked over. I don't remember if it was you or Magic was sitting by me. He's like, oh, he's going to win, and this is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yep. Yeah, you knew it. And for a horse like that, of course, the horse had no idea. And, and the owners and everything's like that. And, they cashed and but for all the bettors, like people like Gabe, who like us, we're single to him, or we had, and because the problem is then, and someone helped me out, you got stuck with a horse that was the favorite that shouldn't have been the favorite. And I want to say, I know you were on Modern Games. I used him obviously, but I didn't pick him on top. And the horse that I used, or that my top pick was, I used because I thought he had some value, but he ended up going off as a favorite. I can't remember the horse was. And you're like, no, hold on. And you got stuck with that horse.
Yeah.
If you had, say, Modern Games, you got stuck with that favorite, and that was just disgusting.
It was Dakota Gold.
Yes, Dakota Gold.
Which has trouble winning New York bred races.
Exactly. And you were stuck with playing that horse as your favorite or your single or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just knew, like, oh, we're Dakota Gold. There you go.
It was tough from, okay, so most people that are watching, I don't have to say this to, because you guys, most likely, if you're watching Blinkers Off on Thursday in September, you follow horse racing, but a lot of times you get people at the Breeders' Cup who, this might be the first time they played, or might be the first time in 6 months they played. And so I'm getting emails like, it was a terrible day. I played that pick 4 and pick 5 and we missed it. And I'm like, but they didn't understand what had even happened. Right.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, actually, like, the horse I picked won, like, we got screwed. And they're like blaming us for being terrible handicappers. It's like, oh, that's even worse. You try to explain it, and it's like, they look at you like, why do I even do racing? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
That's what we're asking too.
Yeah. It was a horrible day.
I mean, it's one thing if something happened. It would have still been brutal if, like, a gate malfunctioned or something, but you would at least could have been like, that's awful luck. But this just, like, literally was like someone pressed the wrong button. And instead of just doing what everyone in the whole world would be like, well, just fix it real fast. Like, we'll just put it back and let them, let's fix it and give them another 5 minutes to bet. So whatever, and then run the race. It's the last race of the day. Instead of just doing that, they just said, nope, can't do it.
It's the only time I left a racetrack where I feel like I legitimately got screwed, right? Like, we always say, if it's a DQ or a bad ride, or that horse is drugged, things we say, but that legitimately felt like I got screwed that day.
Yeah, exactly. That was bad. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do some rapid fire. We got 6 races to go through here, so we're gonna run through them.
Okay.
Got pretty much all of them have some implications. So let's get to it. All right, time for rapid fire, presented by BetPTC. Bet with Racy Dudes at betptc.com and get a $200 new member bonus. BetPTC, enter promo code DUDES, DUDES, and get your $200 new member bonus. That's betptc.com. Bet with the Dudes. All right, we got 2 more challenge races for the Breeders' Cup to talk about. We've got an Oaks and a Derby prep. That's Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks preps at Churchill Downs. And then, of course, we'll go to Belmont at the Big A. But let's stay here at Woodbine Halterman for race 7, the Patterson Summer Stakes Grade 1. worth $500,000 for 2-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf. Breeders' Cup winning your in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Talking about that Juvenile Turf of last year. Hopefully they can figure that things out for this one. Looks like Applebee's got another runner. Mysterious Night, the 6-5 favorite, Applebee Buick teaming up again here. Will they kick things off before we get to Modern Games later in the card?
I feel like Mysterious Night's going to be awfully tough. Winning a Group 3 race last time out, looked pretty good. Never has really run a bad race overseas, hit the board in all 5 of his efforts. He looks awfully tough. I think this is going to be a really tough horse to beat. William Buick coming over to ride. I think that's always important when you see that as well. So I think Mysterious Night's going to be tough. I do want to mention the number 3 Appraise, though, for Chad Brown. That's what I've gotten second. Really interested in the stretch out and distance. Last time out, he faced tough horses in Oxymore, Nonay Hudson. If you remember that race at Saratoga, it was the Skidmore Stakes. That was a tough spot. Also, Private Creed was in that race, who came back and ran really well and won at Kentucky Downs last time out. I feel like that was a loaded race. I feel like stretching out and distance should be good for the number 3 Appraise. So I like him as well, but I don't think he can beat Mysterious Night. So 1-3 for me.
Yeah, I didn't personally understand the 2-1 on the 6. So I'm hoping that horse gets some money, because I think the 1 is the pick here. I mean, it's hard to go against Applebee and Buick when they bring over a horse, especially a 2-year-old that's been running well overseas. Like you said, won a Group 3 last time out. So that really you could argue this is at least a horizontal step for the horse. And I agree with Praise. He really ran. The stretch out's going to help, but ran very poorly I want to say poorly. I just needed, it was either a tough race, but, ran poorly compared to the horse's debut. So the horse hasn't been bet in either one of his starts. So that was kind of the concern for the 3 moving into a race. But the fact that Chad Brown has entered the horse here is interesting, I think. But the 1 for me, and then more than anything, I just like that. I don't know that there's a lot of, other than that 3 who's shows some interest. I just don't know this is like the greatest of fields. So I just think the 1, just from a class standpoint, should be much, much better than all the rest of these. So we'll see, if will Applebee and Buick and Godolphin have another horse in the, wouldn't be shocking, in the Juvenile Turf this year at the Breeders' Cup. We'll see, but we're both on number 1, Mysterious Night. All right, let's go to later in the card after the Woodbine Mile. Race 10, the Johnny Walker and Thomas Stakes, grade 1, $500K for fillies, 2-year-olds fillies going 1 mile of turf. So it's the filly version. Breeders' Cup winning your in for the Juvenile Fillies Turf. And a field of 8 lines up here. 2-1, a Carol Consort, your 1 horse there. And Wickenheiser, your 3-1. I'm going to give this to you, Halter, because this was a weird one for me, because it just felt like usually these races have, there's no Chad Brown, and it feels like a local race. You know what I mean? These are all a lot of local trainers, a lot of local guys, Cassie and Attard and all those guys, but yet it's the Thomas. So how did you approach this one? Are you going horse for course or any kind of quote unquote new shooter here?
Yeah, I thought this was a weird race for sure. And I'm going to go a little bit of a price. I'm going to go with the 6-1 shot here and the number 5 Adora on top. Look, I remember back when this horse entered the Schuylerville Stakes on the dirt at Saratoga, there was a comment and Cassie said, well, she's more of a turf horse. Why the hell is she here? I didn't get that, and she didn't run a step. Went to run on in the stakes last time out, which is kind of the prep for this at Woodbine. First time touching the turf. It was a catch a glimpse stakes and got second, beaten 2.5. I think the stretch out today to the mile is going to help. I just think second time on the turf is going to help. You said it. It feels like a local race. Give me one of the best local trainers ever at Woodbine with Mark Cassie. I think this horse is ready to roll today. I think she's going to run well. I like the 6-1 price. So I went with Adora on top.
Well, I mean, I can't, that's my pick. So I can't add much to what you said. Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
Hey, I love it. I didn't have the odds last night when I was handicapping this, and I didn't expect to be the favorite, but I'm liking the 6-1. For a horse that when you look at Carol Consort, is 2-1. And yes, this horse did beat Adora last time out, but it was a good race. And Adora was closing, now is going longer. And it was only the first start, like you said, for Adora on the turf. So you got, now you're getting 6-1 versus 2-1. Like, that's much more appealing to me to play this 5, who's got a lot of upside here. It was a big purchase price. Obviously, Cassie, they have expectations for him or for her. Ran well on debut, went straight to the Charlottesville, didn't go well at all. Now back on the turf and runs really well. So to me, they're like, okay, the turf race is it. This is what we're going to do with her. And I think she has a step up here, really. And going longer, I think, is right in her wheelhouse. I hope we get 6-1, dude, because I think she is totally going to run her race. And it helped me out, too, with, like, Wickenhauser. This horse got beat by Adora last time out, but it's 3-1 versus 6-1 on our horse.
I don't know. I don't understand the odds at all. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Well, hopefully we can get one by here with the odds, and they can bet these other horses, because you and I are both on the 5 horse at 6-1 Adora. All right, let's go to Churchill Downs, our favorite track. They're not on the turf, so that's encouraging. They're on the dirt. Race 9 on Saturday, Churchill Downs, is the Iroquois Stakes, Grade 3 with $300K for 2-year-olds going 1/16 miles. And you heard me, it's a Kentucky Derby prep race, 10-4-2-1 for the 2023 Kentucky Derby. The road to the Kentucky Derby, road to the Kentucky Oaks officially kicks off this weekend with the Iroquois and the Pocahontas. Field of 9 shows up here, Halterman. Damon's Mound, the 3 horse, versus number 9, Echo Again. Is it one of those two for you, or are you going to try to beat both?
I'm not going to try to beat both. I was super impressed with Echo Again's debut. I'm super, super excited to see what this horse can do next. Listen, the Iroquois at times, not every year, but at times can kind of produce a weird result. This is like the unofficial start of the 2-turn races. And like you said, this is a Kentucky Derby prep race, which is incredible to think about. But now it's where we kind of separate the sprinters from the routers. And at least we start to. And so Echo Again, can he get the 2 turns? My goodness, no reason to think he can't. Gun runner out of a Tappet mare.
Oh, I know.
I really liked Echo Again on debut a ton. I got to back him here. I have much respect for Damon's Mound, but I have to play Echo Again on top in this spot.
Yeah, this is this one to me seems like Echo Again seems really, really talented. That race got a 94 buyer on debut. Just, really, they went fast, but then when Santana really kind of got asked him, it was close for like half a second. You're like, oh, here, this is gonna be kind of a good race here down the stretch. And then he asked him a few times, and that horse just was gone. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this horse wants to go long. Echo Again, I think, is the most likely winner. I picked against him for the pure fact of trying, although it's gonna be based off these odds. I did not like the 7-2 on the 6 Jace's Road. I think this horse is interesting, but I'm gonna need every bit of that 7-2 in order to try to beat Echo Again. I'm assuming in my mind, I'm like, Echo Again's gonna be like 6-5. So if Jace's Road can be like 4 or 5-1, I think that makes the horse a lot more appealing. I just like the way that horse won on debut at Ellis Park. Didn't get the buyer, obviously, the Echo Again did. None of them did. But won by 6 1/4. Really just, stock the pace, which is what you're going to have to do here. You're going to have to be close enough to where you're not asking too much to do for these horses going long. One, you're going to have to like going long. He's a quality road horse. I think he will. And the horse was quick, even though they was not quite on the lead. They ran 22:45. They ran a 109. Almost 109 and 4 there. So the horse was quick on that race. Now, it was Ellis Park. It wasn't Saratoga. There's plenty of upside, I think, but you just don't know how good the horse is. But big purchase horse, big purchase price. Seems like this horse is going to like to go long. So, I like the 6 kind of tracking the 9. a little bit and seeing if the 9 doesn't have it or doesn't have what he did in 6.5, going to mile 16th. I like the 6 to pull the upset off. So
he's interesting. You get those type of horses like this in this race that it's like, yeah, that horse looked pretty good, could take a step forward type.
And you said it, and it's definitely a race that that I've been fortunate enough to make money off of weird results, and I've also been scratching my head afterwards because I totally was wrong. How the hell did that horse win? You know what I mean? So It's definitely one of those races. It's so early, of course, and we're like you said, we're figuring out these horses want to go long. Nine's the play, right? He definitely has the biggest upside. He's very appealing horse. Has the look of a horse that's going to be like epicenter. Like you're going to be that horse we'll be talking about a lot. In March and April of next year. But for this race, I'm going to try to beat him. So I got number 6, Jace's Road.
As Kevin B says, has Irko been a productive prep? No.
Let's just while we're still here, we'll pull up the Major General. Nope. Sitting on Go. Nope. Dennis Moment. Nope. Caro Cat. Nope. I made a lot of money on Caro Cat.
Yes, you did.
The Tabulator. Nope. Not this time. Good Sire. Cocked and Loaded. Nope. Name a horse out of there.
Keep going. Astrology. Yeah, none.
That's rough.
A couple of those horses were good. Well, Harlan's Holiday was a good horse.
And I would argue, I don't know for sure. Let's look at. I don't remember what last year's field looked like, but like if there was like also Stellar Tap. No, that was not a good field.
No.
Sometimes you have a race where it's like they didn't run well, but in that race, but they were pretty good, later in the year as 3-year-olds or something. Not the case. Zero mid. Who won Caro Cat that year?
Caro Cat beat somebody decent, I feel like. I could be wrong about that.
Tight 10, but he didn't do anything after that.
Now, not this time.
17-1.
Not this time would have been if he hadn't gotten hurt. He was pretty good.
Looking at Lee, of course, finished. What did he finish? Second or third in the Derby?
Yeah, second in the Derby.
So it's to answer your question. No, it is not a productive race. It's not a productive race for the All-Star Rands. It's just And I'd like to go back and see how many of those horses even were in the Derby. That won this race, and it's very few.
Right.
So it is tough. It makes some sense. It's September, and the Derby is in May of next year. A lot of these horses aren't. The really, really good ones aren't even considering, the mile 16th yet. So it's just kind of, it's that bad, Kevin.
It's not good.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the race later in the card, race 11. Of course, if we're going to talk about the Derby, we'll talk about the Oaks. Race 11, Pocahontas Stakes, Grade 3, $300K for fillies, 2-year-olds going to 1 and 1/16 miles. Field of 12 lines up here. So maybe they're not the most productive races, but man, you're getting some bettable races here, trying to find value, and this one is all over it because you're looking at 4-1. 9-2, 5-1. Those are your low prices. Those are your favorites. So who is going to be the favorite and who's going to win this thing?
I don't know why Grand Love wouldn't be the favorite of this race. I'm pretty high on this horse coming into the race. Another Asmussen horse that's only been one turn, but by Gun Runner out of a Grand Slam mare, so that the horse has the pedigree to go long for sure. You look at the speed figures, at least on time form, Grand Love stands out in a major way, even more so than Echo again. Grand Love has a ton of early speed, should be on the lead. I got to go with Grand Love. I really wanted to kind of come into this race and take a price, but I'm not like, hey, speed figures are everything type of guy. But when I see a huge standout, it's hard for me to go the other way, and I see one here. So I go number 5, Grand Love in this spot.
So I'm hoping that for my bets anyways, that Grand Love or that Asmussen doesn't win the Iroquois, but he does here because I am on number 5, Grand Love. And I'm with you. Like, he may or she may not have had the performance in terms of like the numbers that Echo again had, but that race was as similar as you can get for a 2-year-old. And when I'm looking at the buyer standpoint, she got an 84 buyer, by the way, for that, which is really, really good for a 2-year-old filly. The second highest buyer of the field might be like 20 points behind that. Somewhere in there, 60. There's a 63 for South Lawn. 68, 2 back for Shoplifter. 68 for Naughty Gal, 2 back. But so, yeah, they're literally 20 points worse than any of these horses. I don't know how this horse is sitting there at 9-2. I hope we can get that. I love Grand Love too, man. I think this horse just has a ton of speed, really fast. None of these horses are fast enough to run with her early. So kind of just, if the horse can get the distance, they're going to be playing. I think the 11, Just a Warrior, that's going to take some money being a Justify horse, 2 for 2. But there's no way you're getting 9-2 on number 5. I mean, I'm thinking like 9-5 or something. Even lower.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like, especially if Steve wins the Iroquois earlier with his horse, like this horse is going to be pounded, another gun runner. So, I'm with you. Number 5, Grand Love. That's my pick as well. Yeah, I didn't know how you were going to get that.
Yeah, I looked at that and I thought, are these odds wrong or like, I don't know.
Right.
I remember when the horse won, I thought, damn, that's a nice one. So
let's go to the BAQ. What do you say?
Let's do it. Let's go back.
All right, let's go to Belmont at the Big A. That's right. It's not Belmont. It's Aqueduct. But it's Belmont at the Big A. Race 7 on Saturday, the Jockey Club Oaks Invitational, Grade 3. $700K for fillies. 3-year-olds going 1 3/8 miles on the turf field of 6. We got these short fields in these. Field of 6 here. McCulloch, your 4-5 favorite. 7-2 on Toscan Bell and 4-1 on Beside Herself. But, all things go through McCulloch here. Didn't quite get the job done last time out, but did the prior to that. So thoughts on McCulloch? Are we on or off her here?
I'll go McCulloch.
Yeah. Kind of have to, I think.
It sucks. Like I can't get this horse right ever, but she looks like a winner in this spot. I don't really like the European shipper as much here. I just think McCulloch looks like the best horse in the race.
Yeah. There's no With Moonlight. With Moonlight, of course, beat her last time out. She finished, it wasn't like she finished awful. She finished second. Ran in all 3 legs here. Will have ran in all 3. Won that Belmont Oaks. The 1 3/8, I think, is the biggest thing. I think this horse wants to go long, being a Frankel horse. I think she just go long with her. 1 3/8 is right up her alley. A little bit shorter last time. I don't know if that made the biggest difference. I know it made a big difference with the Moonlight. They acted like, but last at the Belmont Oaks with 1 1/4. To me, this horse, the longer the better. So McCulloch, just. It's another one of those cases where she seems like the best horse in the race, and I don't know who I'm going to use to beat her. That's the 6, I guess, is interesting a little bit, but the numbers just don't match up with the 1 in any way, in my opinion.
No, they don't, and I don't know. I just couldn't go against her. I thought about, taking a shot and get real crazy. Take the 2, take a chance there. And I was like, yeah, you're not going to do that. That's dumb. So we'll see.
Well, we're both on number 1, McCulloch, to get the Jockey Club Oaks. All right, let's go to the Jockey Club Derby, race 10, the Caesars Jockey Club Derby, grade 3, $1 million for 3-year-olds going 1 1/2 miles on the turf field of 6. Halterman lines up here, and we get the rubber match. This is kind of, even though it's a small field, You get the rubber match with Nation's Pride and Classic Causeway. Classic Causeway got the best of them first. Nation's Pride turned the tables next time out, and now you get the rubber match. The 1.5 distance to me, Halterman, just points at the 3, but what are your thoughts?
Well, here's the problem. Who's going to run with the 1 early in this race?
I know, but I said that too, and I almost picked the 1 because of that, but no one ran with him in the last race either.
Yeah, I'm thinking the 1.5 is going to be a difference maker. I also think the 3 last time out sat a little bit closer, and I thought that was a huge key.
That was huge, yeah.
Who's riding that 3 this time?
Well, surely he learned a lesson from Buick last time, hopefully, right?
It's a lot of bad signs, right, though, because Dettori got this. Let's make no mistake. Dettori got this horse beat in the Belmont Derby, okay? And last time out, he ran like he should have ran, and he should have won both those races, but he was dominant in the Saratoga Derby. I go Nation's Pride. I think he's a better horse than Classic Causeway, but don't think that I'm not worried about the pace situation and the jockey situation, because I am, because I've seen it happen, so that's a worry.
Well, in the Belmont, he had him, 7th, 9th, ninth place and 7th place way back. And then last time out, Buick had him just there right behind, the front leader, with being Classic Causeway. And when he kicked home, the thing is like, I'm with you. The difference is number 3, Nation's Pride, he'll go long. He wants to go long. Classic Causeway, I'm not sure he wants to go this long. 1.25 he wins. The 3/16 last time out. He faltered a little bit. Can he get the 1.5? That seems dicey to me. But if no one's going to run with him, and if Dettori's adamant to just keep him in last place, I mean, come on. Like, you got to be, to me, you have to be right there. If you just can kind of, literally be right on the 1, right off of him, he'll win. Like, I don't think it's going to be close if he wins, because I do think he's a much better horse, the 3, Nation's Pride. But do you like him enough to single Nation's Pride, or are you worried more that you're not about Classic Causeway?
I have not looked through the whole sequence yet as far as trying to put that together, but I feel like he's probably a candidate, Nation's Pride, for a single. And that is scary. It's just going to dictate if I can find anything else. You'd like to play them both, but I really think Nation's Pride is probably going to be a single for me. Like I said, haven't worked it out yet, though.
I didn't ask on the last one, but I will for both of these here. Like, they're not Breeders' Cup races technically, but they're 3-year-olds on the turf. Do you, whether it be Nation's Pride or dare I say Classic Causeway or McCulloch, are any of those horses that Breeders' Cup caliber that you would be interested in using? Nation's Pride, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not at this moment for no. I would say no, but yeah, if one of them really kind of freaks, possibly, right? But at this moment, I'm not overly excited about any of these. Now, the Churchill ones, I am excited about both those Asmussen horses if they look good for sure, but here probably not.
The thing is, like, they have the numbers, for the turf, they don't have a ton of options for the 3-year-olds, right? And then they're going to have to face the big boys or the big girls if they're going to try to run in the Breeders' Cup on the turf. And I haven't seen enough from these to will they maybe run in the Breeders' Cup? Probably. But are they good enough to win? No, I don't think so. Not from what I've seen so far from these 3-year-olds. So, because like you say, you have to go to the turf, the mile, which we talked about earlier. Like, you mentioned, of course, modern games. Is Nation's Pride modern games? No. Mm-hmm. So it's like that's tough. So tough for what they're going to do with them. So we'll see. But for this race, we're both on number 3, Nation's Pride. Please stay close to Tori.
It's worrisome.
So all the time we have, check us out at racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our handicap products page. Get the Get Racing News premium button at the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember, we are your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen. Of course, our YouTube page as well. Let's go to youtube.com/racing dudes or just search Racing Dudes. Make sure you like these videos. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that notification button so we can get, you get alerted when we do go live. We have a ton of content in these next couple months leading up to the Breeders' Cup. So much content out there. So make sure you go like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Halterman, so we got a big game tonight. We got the NFL halftime shows coming up with Slim and Samich. But the game, dude, Chiefs, Chargers at Arrowhead. Wish I was going to be there. Can't make it. But I mean, it's got to be a great game for you because you guys get to watch two of the best teams in the league, sling it back and forth. But for me, I'm already getting nervous.
It's gonna be a tough game for both teams. I'll be honest, I don't have a strong feel who's going to win tonight, one way or the other. I think it's pretty even. I think Allen being out does help the Chiefs a lot, and probably swings it in their favor if you want to take them. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough game. We'll see. My bet from the game was Mahomes and Herbert are going to combine for over 4.5 touchdown passes, because I do think these quarterbacks are going to play well tonight. But it's gonna be a tough game.
What's the let me pull it up here. What's the official number right now?
The Chiefs are 4-point favorites.
4.5 at BetMGM. Minus 200 on the money. 54 on the over under. That seems low. I don't know. Could take the over there, but
yeah, I
just don't. Because it's tough because I don't think the Chargers looked particularly great last week against the Raiders. I thought that game was kind of ugly. Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs, even though they annihilated the Cardinals, they might be awful, like they kind of looked like it. Yeah. Your boy Kyler, man, there's some issues going on over there. He looks like he's not watching a lick of game film.
He looks awful.
He gets back there and he just hikes it. And he's just ready to he's not looking at the coverages. He's not looking at who's coming. There's one time where he's like, we're clearly blitzing. He hikes it and the guy comes flying around. And it's like, dude, you got to do anyways. He just seems like the game was over real quick last week. So it just kind of makes you wonder how the Chiefs looked like they were on, in midseason form. But this game here is going to, prove that. So
I would be afraid. I'm not afraid. I would take it as a sign of caution because I think the Cardinals are awful. But on the flip side of it, they made them look awful. The Chiefs just murdered them. They were sharp. They didn't make mistakes. So there's a lot of good signs of the Chiefs too. But tonight, I think will tell us a little bit more about the Chiefs. And I think that, I'm not going to be shocked if the Chiefs do it easily tonight. But definitely the opponent's better tonight, without any doubt.
I think that not that this is a huge leap, but I think that Mahomes is a huge candidate for MVP this year. I think he's got something to prove, and I know I realize you say, well, how? I mean, he's won the MVP, he's won the Super Bowl, he's won Super Bowl MVP. What does he have to prove? But he's one of those guys that he listens to everybody that's talking about how well they're not going to be as good now without Tyreek. They're not, Tyreek going out and saying Tua is the most accurate quarterback I've ever played with. He's out there thinking, I'm gonna hang 60 on every team I can. Yeah. He's taking these games so it's I feel like I saw that I think it was 9 different receivers, I believe the number was last week. We threw 2. Mm-hmm. 4 different guys scored. It was just very distributed, which makes it tougher if you're a fantasy guy, but having no Tyreek, but having the Juju and having MVS and having Hardman and having Clyde and Kelsey and all these guys, Sky Moore and all. There's a ton of they're all over, and so it makes it tough to figure out who's going to score. But he's got options all over the field. And
Yes, he does. And I think the big key is that he spread the ball out really, really well. And I think that's going to be a key all year. You don't have that guy that you really have to focus on. And so now, hey, and they've done a good job. They've got him a lot of different options. But that was a problem last year. They didn't really have those secondary options where now they have them. So I thought they looked awesome. Listen, and if you watched the sports show last year, you guys, if you watched it, I thought their biggest problem was themselves. I thought they acted like assholes last year. I thought they acted cocky, and I don't think they prepared quite how they used to. I saw a very focused team for week 1. If that continues, I think that's going to correct a lot of the problem. And maybe they had some maybe Tyreek was a locker room problem. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes either.
Right. Yeah. You definitely. I think it's very possible. Like you get into a rhythm where you're like, well, we're basically automatic in the Super Bowl, so let's just kind of roll through these games. And now you're like, wow, people aren't even picking us to win the division.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So good luck to everybody that picked Denver to win the division. So that was fun. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so take the Chiefs, of course. Can't wait for the game. By the way, I got to do how good has Cooper been this show?
He's been good.
I almost forgot he was here.
He came in and said hi, and then that was it. So
yeah. So fantastic job to Coop. He might be asleep in there, or he might be coloring on the walls. So we'll see what.
So Kevin B says he needs a live stream if the OU Nebraska game is close this week. I have a feeling it's going to be close. I have a bad feeling about that game. Just saying.
Is that in Nebraska?
Yeah. I have a feeling that you fire the coach and it's like rally for the new guy, and I think they're going to play really well. And I don't think if you're a coach in Oklahoma, it's like, how do you convince them that that's going to happen? Like they lost to Georgia Southern, they suck, coach, is what they're saying down there. And it's like, oh, that's a dangerous situation. So hopefully OU plays well, but I don't know.
They'll win. Don't worry.
They might. I don't think they're going to lose, but I bet it's closer than you think it is. I'm not expecting a blowout.
What time is that game?
11 o'clock.
All right.
It's early.
What I like about OU, they play unless it's prime time, they're always on 11.
Yep.
So they're one of the first games every day. So
they're usually 11 or 7. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That 2:30 kick, usually we don't see that.
Yeah. Well, how's how you feel about your Heisman candidate?
I don't think he's a Heisman candidate. It's not
I know you don't. That's why I asked it that way. Yeah. Hey, look at the Shoddy, by the way. So they play this weekend, my alma mater, Missouri State.
Yep.
They had to deal with them. They've played the last couple of years. But yeah, and people don't realize this. Petrino, man, he's coming back home. He's going. That's the first time he's been back to Arkansas since the whole debacle of the Arkansas days. So that'll be kind of interesting. And Missouri State, they're not going to beat Arkansas, but they're so much improved than they have been over the course of the last several years that Arkansas has played them. So he's turned that program around. I mean, he's a great coach, but he's obviously interesting guy.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting game because of that. I also think it's interesting, nobody's ever been able to win at Missouri State. Nobody.
No. And dude, let me tell you, yes, Kevin, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
He has changed the program. He's changed the environment. People go around town talking about the Bears game. It's my alma mater. When I was there, I didn't give a shit about the football games.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to go to games.
So,
and
yeah,
they're good.
Nobody, and they've tried every type of coach at Missouri State, and nobody's ever been able to win. And then they get him, and they're good. And They're really good, and they've had former Division I coaches in the past, and they haven't been able to get the job done. So,
I heard you.
there he is.
Hey, I was just telling everybody how good of a boy you've been during the show. You've been so good. And now we have to go, and we're going to pick up
now we're
Colin
leaving.
from school. Yeah, he's been good.
That's good. Good job.
Yeah, well, it's been a basketball school for many, many years. They especially women's, they're really good. But yeah, people don't realize the football stadium at Missouri State is awesome. It's huge.
Yep.
You drive by and you're like, my gosh, they must have a good program. Nope.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be really good.
No, I know.
And so now they kind of are. I mean, they're very good. I mean, they're not great, but they're good.
Yeah, well, all things considered, where they were to being a forgotten program, to like you wonder why we even have one.
Yep.
To Petrino coming in, and you're getting like guys that are being recruited. Like that they want to come there. Guys that are eventually going to the NFL. Yeah, I mean it's definitely turning around. So, so yeah, I'll be. Let's be honest, I'll be rooting for Arkansas, but it'll be fun to watch Petrino. Back home. All right, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halter. Make sure you guys, obviously, you're gonna be watching the game. Make sure you tune in for the Dudes Who Bet halftime show. Huh? Yep. Can you say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.
Any thoughts? Who's your favorite horse? Who's gonna win this weekend? Who's gonna win? You think? Who? You tell me.
I don't know. Justify.
Yeah.
Justify couldn't.
Where is Justify right now? Is he at the farm?
Yeah.
Yes. What's he doing?
Babies.
Making babies. Yep.
Butt.
What?
Hey, butt.
In his butt? Oh, babies are coming out of his butt. So there you go. Justify's having some babies too. It sounds like out of his butt. There you go. You've heard it here first. Justify has some babies that are running this weekend.
Yes.
Say what you want. Here. Talk.
Hi.
Hi. Are you having a good day?
Any questions that you'd like to answer? Hey, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Mikey.
Mikey? Yeah. Why?
Angelo? Yeah, he's cool.
Because he likes to eat what?
Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like eat pizza too.
And what does he do a lot?
Toot.
Toots. Yeah.
What about Raphael? You like him?
I like him too.
Yeah, he's kind of a
You like
dick
him too?
though.
What Aaron like?
Huh?
What Aaron?
Well, what is Aaron like? What do you like, Aaron?
I like Leonardo.
Ooh, the blue one.
Yeah.
I said I like Leo.
Yeah, Leo.
He like Cohen.
Cohen likes Leo too. So there you go.
Because Cohen and I are smart.
You like Donatello too?
What?
You love Donatello too?
I don't like him. He's my least favorite one. He just has a stick. That's kind of dumb.
Raph is my favorite. Raph was always my favorite, huh?
Raphael's they made him mean in the movies.
In the new ones, he's kind of a jerk. I know.
Yeah.
The old ones are funny. He's like he's like kind of he's a little serious, but the second ones he's like.
Why do we don't like Donatello?
Why do people not like Donatello? No respect. I know because he's purple. I guess I don't know.
Maybe Parker was Donatello.
Parker does.
Wait,
yeah.
Is Donatello a nerd? He's not a nerd, is he? Is he the smart one?
Donnie's a nerd. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's like the guy that wears the glasses in the new ones, anyways, and like it's all like creates all the inventions. Mikey has glasses.
And Raph.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Leo don't have glasses.
What about Shredder?
Ooh, what do you think about Shredder?
Scary?
No, he's not.
He's not nice. What about Splinter?
So the boys asked me a question, and now they've never watched the actual show, but they do know the name. So I'm not a bad parent-ish, but who would win in a fight, Halterman? Shredder or Vecna?
Vecna would win.
That was my answer too.
Yeah, because he's got like superpowers, and he's he's really mean. Shredder's sort of mean. Vecna's really mean.
What do you think?
But not scary.
Vecna's scary?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is
Yeah,
kind of
he's really
scary.
scary. For sure.
I don't think Shredder. I mean, Shredder can't handle the Ninja Turtles, so I don't know how he's going to handle Vecna.
Yeah. No.
Well, there. Yeah. We agree.
But not very scary.
Yes, he's very scary. I agree.
Yeah.
Mean,
Yeah.
and nobody
Kevin,
likes
we just do the best we can, Kevin. So
That's right.
you just you every day you're like, well, probably should have done that one better. Probably shouldn't let him watch Jaws, but we do. So it happens.
But Josh is not scary.
Papa
No, Jaws
Dude.
isn't scary.
That's Papa Dude's favorite
But
movie.
Josh is scary or not?
Jaws?
Yeah.
Do you think it is? No.
I don't think it's that scary.
No.
Either.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
All right. Let's actually the viewers it's increasing. So this is obviously what people are wanting to see, and not what
We're
we had
calling
done.
each other. Get on there. Kids on there today.
Yeah. You'll believe this. They have kids on there. All right.
On a gambling show.
All right, here's what I want you to say. Say, he's daddy. Say, he's daddy. Say it on the mic. Say, I'm Cooper.
I kid that.
He's daddy.
He's daddy.
He's Aaron Alterman.
Yeah, I had him.
Good luck this weekend. Say it really loud.
I'm dad.
What? Say
I
good
don't
luck.
think that was it.
Go up.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.